You're sabotaging yourself right now, and you don't even know it. Every goal you abandon, every promise you break to yourself, every time you choose comfort over growth, that's not bad luck or circumstance. That's you, actively destroying your own potential. Carl Jung knew this dark truth. We don't fail because the world is against us. We fail because there's a part of us that wants to fail, that feeds on our destruction, that whispers we don't deserve better. But here's the kicker, you can change that. Carl Jung, the psychologist who dared to plumb the darkest depths of the human psyche, called this the shadow, the hidden impulses, fears, and desires that sabotage your success. Jung didn't just name the problem. He carved a path to confront it, to transform your inner chaos into unshakable strength. This video is for you, the one who's exhausted by self-sabotage, who's ready to stop being their own worst enemy and become their own greatest ally. Jung's wisdom isn't about quick fixes or feel-good platitudes. It's about diving into the abyss of your mind to unearth the forces holding you back. This journey is raw, unsettling, and demands relentless courage. Are you ready to face your shadow and unlock the potential Jung knew you possess? Let's plunge into Jung's psychology and discover why you're standing in your own way. Let's start with a brutal truth. You're not just battling the world, you're waging war against yourself. Every time you skip a workout, snap at someone you love, or let fear stop you from seizing an opportunity, you're not just failing, you're betraying the person you could become. Jung's concept of the shadow is the key to understanding why. The shadow is the part of you you refuse to see. The anger, the jealousy, the laziness, the neediness you pretend doesn't exist. It's the voice whispering you're not good enough, the impulse that makes you lash out, the habit that keeps you trapped in cycles of regret. You think you can ignore it, bury it. But the shadow doesn't vanish. It festers in the dark and it sabotages you when you're most vulnerable. Think about the last time you derailed something important. Maybe you missed a critical deadline because you procrastinated, scrolling through distractions instead of working. Maybe you pushed away someone you care about with a careless, cutting word. You told yourself it was stress, bad luck, or someone else's fault. But Jung would challenge you to dig deeper. Why did you procrastinate? Why did you snap? It wasn't random. It was your shadow at work, acting out the fears and impulses you've refused to face. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's a part of you, a fragment of your psyche crying for acknowledgement. Until you confront it, it will keep pulling the strings, turning your life into a series of self-inflicted wounds. So why do we sabotage ourselves? Jung's answer lies in the persona, the mask you've crafted to hide your flaws from the world. From childhood, you've been taught to be likable, successful, perfect. You've built a persona. Maybe it's the nice guy, the hard worker, the flawless parent, because you believe it protects you. But it's a cage. The persona forces you to deny your shadow, to pretend you're better than you are. You smile when you're angry, work when you're exhausted. Hide your fears to seem strong. But the more you deny your shadow, the stronger it grows. When you snap, when you procrastinate, when you fall back into old habits, that's your shadow breaking through, screaming that you can't escape yourself. Jung's genius was showing us that the way out isn't to fight the shadow, it's to integrate it, to accept it, to harness its raw energy for growth. If you're feeling this spark, if you're ready to break free from self-sabotage, don't just watch, join the Saffron journey. Rewiring your mind takes time, daily effort, and unflinching honesty. Subscribe for content that will guide you to face your shadow and unlock your true potential. Hit that button now, and let's start building the mind you deserve. Now, let's get practical, because Jung's psychology isn't about abstract theories, it's about action. Facing your shadow sounds intense, But it's not about sitting in a dark room brooding. It's about shining a relentless light on the parts of you you've ignored. Start by noticing your patterns. What triggers your worst behaviors? Maybe you lash out when you feel criticized, your anger flaring before you can stop it. Maybe you procrastinate when you're scared of failing, avoiding the task to dodge the pain of falling short. Those aren't accidents. They're clues to your shadow's shape. Jung would urge you to keep a journal, to write down every time you act against your own interests. Ask, what was I feeling? What was I afraid of? This is the first step to making the unconscious conscious, to seeing the shadow that's been steering your life. Once you spot your patterns, you need to confront them. Jung's process of individuation is about becoming whole by integrating your shadow. This means accepting that you're not perfect, that you're capable of anger, fear, even cruelty. It's not about judging yourself. It's about understanding. For example, if you procrastinate, don't just label yourself lazy. Dig deeper. What am I avoiding? Maybe it's fear of failure or a buried belief that you don't deserve success. When you name that fear, it loses its grip. You start to see your shadow not as a monster, but as a teacher, revealing the wounds you need to heal. Jung believed that every shadow impulse carries a lesson. Your anger might be protecting a boundary. Your fear might be guarding a dream. By listening, you turn your shadow from a saboteur into a guide. But here's where it gets hard. Integrating your shadow means changing how you live. Jung taught that self-sabotage comes from living out of alignment with your true self. When you chase goals that don't match your values, maybe a career that feels hollow or a lifestyle that's not yours, you create inner conflict. That conflict fuels your shadow, pushing you to act in ways that hurt you. Picture this. You're in a job that demands you wear a persona of confidence, but inside, you're riddled with doubt. You overwork to prove yourself, but your shadow rebels, making you miss deadlines or snap at colleagues. Jung's solution: align your life with yourself, the whole, authentic you. This might mean saying no to a job that drains you, or letting go of relationships that feed your insecurities. It's terrifying, but it's liberating. When you live authentically, your shadow stops fighting you. It starts working with you, lending its energy to your growth. So, how do you stop being your own worst enemy? Jung's psychology gives us 5 practical tools to face your shadow and break the cycle of self-sabotage. First, track your triggers. Notice when you act against yourself: procrastination, anger, avoidance. Write it down and look for patterns. What situations, people, or emotions spark these behaviors? Second, own your flaws. Admit the parts of you you're ashamed of: your envy, your fear, your need for approval. Acceptance isn't weakness. It's the foundation of change. Third, dialogue with your shadow. Jung used active imagination. Picture your shadow as a person. Ask it what it wants. It sounds strange, but it uncovers truths you've buried. Fourth, challenge your persona. Identify the mask you wear, maybe the people pleaser or the overachiever, and ask, is this me or what the world expects? Start peeling it back by making one choice that honors your true self. Fifth, live your values. Make decisions that align with what matters to you, not the world's demands. Every step toward authenticity weakens your shadow's hold and strengthens yourself. If you're still here, you're not just watching, you're ready to transform. Becoming your own ally takes daily grit, and Saffron is here to fuel your journey. Subscribe for content that will help you face your shadow and build a mind that serves you. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep this transformation alive. Now let's go deeper, because Jung's vision is as vast as it is profound. Your shadow isn't just personal. It's tied to the collective unconscious. Jung's concept of the shared patterns that shape humanity. One of those patterns is self-destruction, an archetype woven into our psyche. We all carry impulses to tear ourselves down, to doubt our worth, to choose comfort over growth. Why? Because growth is painful, and your shadow is the part of you that resists it, clinging to the safety of the familiar. Think about it. Every time you've sabotaged yourself, a part of you was choosing the known pain of failure over the unknown risk of success. But Jung believed that facing your shadow is the path to transcendence. When you integrate it, you don't just stop sabotaging yourself. You tap into a well of strength most people never touch. You become the hero of your own story, not the villain. This hero's journey is central to Jung's psychology. In the collective unconscious, the hero archetype is the one who faces the dragon, in this case, your shadow, and emerges stronger. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a dark forest, your shadow looming like a beast. You could run as you've done before, letting it chase you through procrastination, anger, or fear. Or you could turn and face it, asking, "What do you want from me?" Jung believed that every hero's victory begins with this confrontation. By facing your shadow, you're not just fighting for yourself. You're tapping into a universal pattern of courage, claiming your place among those who dare to grow. But there's a cost, and Jung never shied away from the truth. Facing your shadow means facing truths you've avoided, that you're not as kind as you think, that you're driven by fears you don't admit, that you've hurt yourself more than anyone else ever could. Jung called this the dark night of the soul, a moment where you see yourself raw, unfiltered, and flawed. It's terrifying. You might see the envy you've buried, the anger you've masked, the doubts you've silenced. But this is where freedom begins. When you accept your shadow, you stop running from it. You stop letting it control you. And in that acceptance, you start to build a mind that's not just strong, but whole. Let's talk about the world you're up against. Society doesn't want you to face your shadow. It wants you to wear your persona, to stay predictable, to fit in. You're praised for hiding your flaws, for being the good employee, friend, or partner. But Jung saw this as a trap, a way to keep you disconnected from yourself. When you choose to confront your shadow, you're defying that system. You're saying, "I will not live for your approval. I will live for my truth." That defiance is revolutionary, but it's lonely. The world will push back, calling you selfish, difficult, or strange. Friends might drift away, uncomfortable with your authenticity. Colleagues might resent your refusal to conform. But Jung would call this the price of individuation, the cost of becoming whole. Now let's get real about what's at stake. Every time you sabotage yourself, you're not just missing a deadline or hurting a relationship. You're stealing from your future. You're robbing yourself of the life you could have, the person you could be. Jung's concept of the self is the vision of that person. Whole, authentic, unafraid. But the self isn't handed to you. It's forged in the fire of self-awareness, in the courage to face your shadow and align your life with your truth. Every step you take toward integration, every trigger you track, every fear you name, every choice you make for your values is a step toward that self. And with each step, your shadow's grip weakens and your strength grows. Picture this. A year from now, you're no longer the person who procrastinates, who lashes out, who lets fear call the shots. You've faced your shadow not once, but every day, in small, brave choices. You've let go of the persona that kept you small, the relationships that drained you, the goals that weren't yours. You walk with a quiet confidence, not because you're perfect, but because you know yourself, flaws, fears, and all. You're not your own worst enemy anymore. You're your own greatest ally, living a life that reflects your deepest values. This isn't a fantasy. It's what Jung's wisdom can build. But it starts with a choice, right now, in this moment. So I'm asking you, Will you keep sabotaging yourself, letting your shadow run the show? Or will you face it, integrate it, and claim the life you're meant to live? Jung didn't write for those who want to stay comfortable. He wrote for the heroes, the ones who dare to dive into the unconscious, to wrestle with their shadows, to emerge whole. You're here because a part of you is ready to stop betraying yourself, ready to become yourself. So take the first step. Pick one tool from this video, track a trigger, own a flaw, dialogue with your shadow, and use it today. Notice how it feels, how it shifts you, even a little. That's the spark of transformation, and it's yours to ignite. Something shifted while you were watching this, didn't it? Maybe it was a line that made you pause, or a moment where Jung's words cut through your defenses. That feeling, that's your authentic self-recognizing truth. You're probably thinking about which part hit deepest, which insight you don't want to lose. Don't let it fade. The people who transform aren't the ones who just consume. They're the ones who capture those moments of clarity. If something resonated, if there's a quote burning in your mind right now, drop it below. Not for me, but for you, to make it real, to claim it. And if you're feeling that pull towards something deeper, that curiosity about what comes next, well, you know what to do. The next video is already calling to you.